why I bother. And I don't know why I'm bothered.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming and paid.
It wasn't there.
You look just like Ashton. That's genetic.
World Series crowns a champion. Bobolinsky bombshell. Potential voter fraud in San Antonio. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
I like Wade and Carter Show. Like I'm just bored and annoyed with this. Just done with this statement. Hello, YouTubers. You know, if you watch us on YouTube, you get a little bonus footage every day because you get to hear the stuff that nobody else gets to hear. Like
all one of you.
Like maybe you should watch us on Facebook too because you get a better view and better audio. But we appreciate you watching us.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
I like your Sherpa blanket.
I'm trying to embody the
Is that the male version of what the women break out when the weather gets a little cooler?
Like
the vests and high boots and
yes, this is like
and all that stuff.
I'm like in a male UGG. The truth is, you only get so many days a year that you can wear stuff like this. I'll be out of this as soon as the show's over. Back in my footy pajamas.
Well, I mean, the good thing about living down here, you can buy winter clothes, and because you wear them so infrequently, they'll never wear out.
Right, and it's
going to be back in style again before you have to get rid of them.
The big collar, you know, like I told somebody the other day, it's like I've still got a members only jacket, and I found out that I'm the last member. Like I'm the only member left.
The only one.
Yeah, the only one.
The epaulettes were.
How about that?
Weren't they epic?
We have the full spectrum today.
We do?
Yes. I mean, it's sunrise is at 7:37, although you won't see it because it's dark. 30% chance of rain at 8 o'clock. Then it's cloudy until noon. Then the clouds burn off, and this afternoon it's supposed to be sunny with a high today of 64, 45 to 64. You can get away with that sweater all day. Won't you be my neighbor? When I think about men in sweaters,
miss that.
The Wade and Carter Weather brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed, our very, very patient friends, our understanding and tolerant friends at Deerland Feed. You've got to wonder, do you think when I say
they sold out of all the rye seed yesterday, so they're getting another shipment in on Thursday for anybody still needing to overseed their pastures.
When I say sweater, do you think, Mr. Rogers?
One thought, yes.
We did not grow up in Victoria, Texas wearing sweaters. You either wore a leather jacket or you wore the Canadian tux. You wore the denim Levi's jacket.
Yep.
Lee used to make a pretty good denim jacket.
That's the Lee Storm Rider back there.
Very fine jacket.
Lee doesn't make them anymore.
No,
they released it out, or they Storm Rider went and sold it to some other brand. It still looks the same.
Rough Rider.
But the Lee Storm Rider was the one. And some of them, I'm not fortunate enough to have that one, but if they have a certain marking on the label, they're worth like a few $100s on the
in Canada
eBay,
really
jacket exchange.
Because it's like it was made at a certain time.
Yeah. And it has the quality and the fabric is such
like an S penny from San Francisco.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, these things like legitimately this is an old jacket, and the more worn in, as long as they're not torn up and frayed, but stains are okay. Right. Talking like $300-400
Canadian?
No, US.
Come on,
I'm serious.
Like $1,000.
I know.
Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Deep in the throes of winter by now. We need
they're back into the summer because yesterday was like 67 degrees there.
Have we gotten anything? Is Giancarlo Wiley? Is he playing any football?
No, they're not playing football as far as I know.
Good for him. He's just all this kid does, folks, is get bigger and stronger. This is going to be a Division I college athlete here in the United States. More than a friend of the show. This guy is actually basically family. Basically, nice to have an athlete in your family.
He's the god brother.
Right?
To Ashton. Jeremy Pena, good morning. Lisa Poole, Bobby Leister checking in, Scott Tomko, Patrick Strauss, Marvin Mickish, Justin Glass, Judge Posey, good morning. Michelle Hawkins, Bobby Leister says we cracked 400. We're at 420 YouTubers.
Blowing and going, folks. This is not a hobby. This is a professional, content-driven, international media source. We're on par and more accurate than the Main Street media. There's no way ABC, MSNBC, they can't keep up any longer. They ignore the realities. We're here to tell you the truth. Good morning, Judge Posey.
Scott Snow, good morning. Rob Moore-Knipling, Chris Conrad.
There's Sheriff
Chris Conrad's consistently like the third one in. And look, he's way down the list this morning. A lot of folks beat him.
Well, we weren't on to like 7:01.
Sheriff Louderback, Trey Molina. Well, we had to wait. We had to go a little later so Trey Molina could join us this morning.
Funk is in.
We started on time and he's not there lately.
Well, he's busy. Corpus is on a little bit different time. You know that Corpus
Island. Yeah, that's kind of on island time.
Yeah, a few minutes late.
Larry Leahy, good morning. Richard King.
I saw Mike Bloschke in.
He's got an update on they're moving the football season to spring apparently.
Where are you going? What did somebody JW said? Okay, JW, keep going, Stephanie Conti. Good morning, Steph. What Adam Schiff
knew about the Biden story? The cover-up theory was correct. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The whole impeachment. I mean, I've said this from day one. Whenever the Democrats accuse Donald Trump of something, they're doing it. And impeachment was the ultimate deflection. And now it's coming to light, albeit probably too late to really make a difference this election. The only one colluding with Russia, scheming with Russia, taking money from Russians
were people at Joe Biden's bequest. Whether it was Joe directly, I'll just put it to you this way. If everything that Joe Biden is even accused of doing, if it's even plausible that he did it, they would crucify Donald Trump over the revelation that Donald Jr. was negotiating with Chairman
whoever, Mao,
another guy from China. And that's one of the reasons Trump has known about this. This is one of the reasons Trump's leaning on China. No doubt about it. Did you listen to this Bobolinsky guy last night?
Yeah, did you find his roll call, and then we'll get to that. BJ Nelson, Barbara Brazil, good morning.
Good morning, Bill's wife. We just saw Bill.
Jimmy Driscoll, H.R. Mallory, Bob Watley.
Folks, you're in for a treat. Starting next week, Bill Posey is going to do a show. We don't know who's going to call it Good Morning Victoria, Wake Up Victoria. We don't know what Bill's going to call the show yet. But we'll share with you that Bill Posey will be doing a show here from 6:30 to 7. Ash has told him he must be out of the studio at 7.
No, Brent told him.
No, I don't tell the Navy SEAL anything. One of my heroes. Tell him nothing but good morning, sir. But I'm excited to hear that show. In fact, it might be like free show prep for us. We can get some ideas from Bill Posey. He's very well read, very well researched. And will be a real asset. Us. There you go.
Ron Koshin says National First Responders Day ceremony today. If the weather keeps up, they'll move the ceremony inside at Parkway. The procession starts at 10:30 from Patty Dodson on Mockingbird to Stockbauer to the Field of Honor.
There you go. Did you see that aerial photo with all the this year they put lights on all the flight? Beautiful.
I did not.
Beautiful Field of Honor. Ron, you've outdone yourself again, sir. Good job.
So Tucker Carlson had this Tony Bobolinsky guy on Fox News last night. He's had a few of these guys. I shouldn't say these guys. He's had a few people like this. A China whistleblower who came on and said that the virus was manufactured in China and China sent people out to the world and the rest of the media just doesn't run with this stuff.
Right.
And I get a sense this will be another one of those because it's largely being ignored this morning. I watched his press conference. It was interesting. It was weird. It was impromptu. Tony Bobolinsky had one. He didn't have a podium. He stood in front of a room of a few journalists. He had a chair with, he said 3 cell phones with all the information that would corroborate what he talked about.
Right.
And apparently is supposed to be in front of a Senate committee today, I believe.
He's got the text. He says, people, these are not texts that I originated. These are texts from, James Biden, Frank Biden, from Hunter Biden, talking about what I found really interesting is he went through, they asked him to head up this corporation, which was legit. And they showed in there that they were keeping 10% for the big guy.
Sinohawk.
10% for the big guy. And they had all these, the ownership, say there were 5 companies or 6 companies. They each owned stuff in the name of, Bill and Bob LLC owned 20% of the big cup. Well, there was one guy, and I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter to the story. He had 10% of the program. His company owned 10%. But they talked about keep 10% for the big guy, 10% for the big guy. When they did the articles of incorporation, that guy's company all of a sudden had 20%. So he was the custodian of the extra 10% for Joe Biden.
The big guy. And he said the big guy was Joe Biden.
Yeah, and this is a guy that was running the company. So either you've got to find a way to impugn all of his credibility. By the way, United States second generation naval officer.
I think he said he was a lieutenant in the Navy.
High, top secret clearance at the DOD. I mean, this guy's legit.
Well, yeah, you could say that. A few things come to mind. How is he any more qualified to run this company than Hunter Biden?
Well,
other than being friends with a bunch of people.
I think apparently he had done lots of international business.
Okay.
I think that was his gift to the deal, and they approached him about running it.
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, he explained that. He said he wasn't.
Maybe he said it to be a scapegoat.
Maybe was the CEO, but when you listen to the story, he didn't have a lot of power.
No,
sort of in name only, but money was being moved around, and he had no control to stop it.
Let's see if we can find a consensus to agree upon, though. By anybody's standard, Hunter Biden has some issues. By anybody's standard of credibility, Joe Biden's got some splaining to do. I mean, he just completely throws it. When he goes to his rallies with 32 people, 28 of which are journalists, he throws off, it's all just politics, bunch of garbage. I never talked to my son Hunter about his business in Ukraine. I just own 10% of the company.
Yeah. And Bob Alinsky yesterday said that was absolute garbage because he was in the room. He acted, and this in his press conference, about 7 minutes yesterday, 7 or 8 minutes, somewhere there. He said
9.5 in Newfoundland.
Yeah. He said he went to.
Got you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I got you.
That was quick.
Yeah.
You're not used to that from you.
Did you see what I told Cheryl yesterday? Can you ever think about doing radio? I could work with this wit. What did she say that was so dang funny?
6 people allowed at Thanksgiving, but 30 people allowed at funerals. So she's having a funeral on November 26th for her pet turkey.
Come on by.
Refreshments will be provided.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I said, do you ever thought about doing radio? I could work with that wit.
So Bob Alinsky yesterday detailed a meeting he had with Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm. He said he met with Joe at least twice.
Yeah.
One-on-one. He said Joe would just ask him, how do you think the campaign's going? How do I look? How are things?
And he said we did not speak. The email that said, 10% for the big guy was one of the rare references to Joe Biden in anything that could be traceable. He said we avoided it in social media. We avoided it on messaging. We avoided it in email. We would speak about it in person, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So
here's the next thing.
And well,
I mean, is Hunter Biden, in your opinion, you're pretty lenient, or you err on the side of tolerance. Is Hunter Biden, if Donald Trump had a son, crackhead, cavorting with hookers in China, dropping his dad's name, trying to peddle influence, is that enough of a reason not to vote for Donald Trump? Can Trump overcome the turd adult child? Can Joe Biden overcome, in your opinion, and still be credible as a world leader, having Hunter Biden as a son out there on the streets.
Well, yes, he's credible as a world leader because he's doing what all the despots do with our foreign aid and siphon it off to their own pocketbooks.
Correct. No different than Venezuela. No different than Castro in Cuba.
No different than the leaders of China. No different than the Politburo in the Soviet Union.
Right. Remember when Trump?
This is what socialism does. There's one class for everybody, and then there's a ruling class who has everything that the class, because there's no middle class, just one class, will never ever attain or achieve. But the ruling class, go back to the Soviet Union. The Red Army, the Central Red Army, the hockey team of the Soviet Union would travel around the world, stay in first-class hotels. They were always worried that these guys were going to defect when they went to Canada or came to the U.S. to play hockey because they would get a taste of what it was. But they were treated differently because of their talents. They weren't quite there with the ruling elite, the Politburo.
They were disposable.
But they were close. Well, yeah.
I mean, they're not treated to greatness after their playing days are over.
No, not well. But then the Soviet Union fell apart.
Captain Leiniger says, "Hey, side dishes accepted in lieu of flowers."
Exactly.
But I like that.
This is where we're heading with those on the left who want the U.S. to become a socialist state. Everybody's in one class except for those that rule. They have the privilege. There's a reason AOC wants to get rid of airplanes. We won't be allowed to fly in them because we won't have the means to afford to fly in them.
Yes.
We won't be allowed to go anywhere.
All
people in the Soviet Union were not allowed to go anywhere.
Right? All animals are equal, except the horses and cows.
Yeah. No. So
Jeremy Pena brought up something we never talked about before. It was a great comment by Donald Trump when Joe Biden was chirping about that Trump was putting people in cages and separating families, and like he was doing it maliciously. Is that your dad? You go over there. You go over there. Didn't happen, folks. Donald Trump simply asked, "Who built the cages, Joe?" "I didn't build the cages. You and Brock built the cages." So we used them to stem a tide of craziness. I remember now what the missing link was.
What was that?
We talked the other day about you had North Korea that they tried to get at Donald Trump by throwing, the possibility of his ego getting us into war. That didn't work. He became friends with the guy in North Korea.
Well, I mean, friends is a relative term.
But relatively enough to keep us out of trouble. Yeah. Then they tried to throw impeachment at him, and that didn't work. In the interim, they threw the caravans of people at him, assaulting his border. That didn't work. Now, the realities of all the things they've been doing behind the scenes are coming. I can't wait. Folks, the announcement we have for you, we'll tell you after this break who we're going to have in tomorrow, because I think the gentleman's a very credible source. And I'm going to ask him, why Biden? Does it give you pause? Does a rich white guy, a rich lifetime public servant, how did that happen?
Well, there's more deflection. The cry for Donald Trump's tax returns.
What about Joe Biden?
Where's Joe Biden's? Because surely the 5, 10, who knows how many tens of millions aren't appearing on his tax returns.
Callie Frommy points out a beautiful point. It's notable that Joe has never said the computer wasn't Hunter's.
Well, he's not going to know because he didn't talk to his kid about his business dealings.
Never talked to his kid.
But Hunter's never denied it either.
Folks, it's Carter Wednesday. Today, the weather, everything has shaped up for you. It's not a perfect storm.
The weather outside is frightful.
It's a perfect warm, but the cold inside is delightful.
It is.
Get into Veracruz today, folks.
I was just going there.
I knew you were. I just got tired of waiting on it. It's just an hour show. Get into Veracruz today. You're killing me, Smalls. Get in there or call. By the way, we checked the other day. If you want a enchilada casserole, you can call 576-6015 and order it in advance. Now, the beautiful thing there is the smallest one they make feeds 10, which is really, that's me and you, 2 meals. Okay. But call Veracruz, get in there today for Caldo Wednesday.
You can call ahead and have your Caldo to go too.
You sure can. Call Razor IT Solutions. Reach out to JP Hull. Let John help you with your analytics, with algorithms that involve how many people are hitting your website, what they're there for, where they're coming from. If you turn on your website and you're seeing Houston, Austin, Dallas, well, then you need to do regional marketing. If you're seeing Maine, Delaware, Seattle, well, then you need to think more nationally. But if you're seeing India, China, Russia, you need to be watching your back door because people are trying to break into your page.
No, that's exactly it.
He can tell you all of that, where they're coming from, what they're looking for. And Razor IT Solutions does this for huge companies. They happen to be in Victoria. They can do it for you. The Atzenhofer dealership is a huge company. Since 1926, started out Ed Atzenhofer selling little Chevy pickups. They turned into Tahoes and Suburbans and Blazers, and all of a sudden now they've got Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi to go with the Chevys.
Big trucks, little trucks.
Fat kids, skinny kids, kids that climb on rocks.
Fleet vehicles.
Tough kids, sissy kids, even kids with COVID pox. Reach out to Atzenhofer. If you're afraid of the COVID, go to atzenhofer.com. They'll hook you up. Speaking of hooking you up, Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300.
Only number we call.
That's
whenever we need
you
a wrecker.
need to call. If you call anybody else, I believe you put your vehicle at risk. Allen's will come out, secure the scene, make sure you're safe first. They act as a first responder. They come out, they secure the situation. Many, many times they're there before law enforcement or fire and rescue. So get a hold of Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Had lunch yesterday at Veracruz.
Did you?
With Scott and BJ Nelson.
Nice.
How about that?
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic, folks. Said to tell you hi. They've got big news.
Yeah, I didn't get an invite. Thank you.
No, we didn't have time. I took T-Lat instead. T-Lat, I told T-Lat, be nice to them. They're sponsors, right? I look over there, T-Lat's rubbing Scott's leg. I don't know what's going on there. I just don't know. I said, hey, subtle, be subtle. Dang it, Dawn. Hey, it works.
That's what you get.
They decided to stay as sponsors. Scott goes, yeah. I think I can hang with this Wade Carter thing for a while.
Randy Langston said, you notice we went from screaming less taxes to how dare you aren't paying more taxes.
Right. Well, that's Joe Biden. He's going to want you to pay more taxes.
Yeah.
Trump yesterday, when we talked about this for a moment this morning, Bill Posey came by. Folks, you're going to want to listen next week when Bill Posey comes in at 6:30. And we thought it was funny because the magic, our operation here is about to move to a new studio. We're moving to new space. And nobody told Bill. It's very funny. Yeah. It was like, well, we'll be over at that other place. You don't need a key to this one. What other place? Yeah, Bill. Stay close to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stick close.
We got to hook him up.
We'll tell you where you need to
Look
be.
at Dawn. My foot accidentally touched his foot. Yeah, that's your story.
She's sticking to it.
She's beautiful. She's had a little.
Someone's a little defensive.
She's had, right. I think you protest too much. She's a little bit of a tummy problem. And it's, we travel on them down there. It's not the Revenge. It's not Montezuma, but she's just, I think she's back eating normal food and it's kind of kicked her a little bit.
Maybe. She's eating your cooking.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's great. She says, exaggerate never. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Adam Dodry asked if that's a new co-host off my right shoulder. It is. Just for this week.
Which, oh yeah, there's a pumpkin.
It's kind of like pumpkin like Wilson.
Wilson! Remember that stupid ball rolled away?
Graydon helped me carve that one.
Sure he did. That's Ashway. That's the way Canadians roll. They have a couple of drinks, give a knife to a 2-year-old. No big deal.
No, not at all. He knows how to work it.
Sure, I bet he does.
His dad's a hunting guy. What do you expect?
True.
And a knife better than you.
I believe.
Better shot than you too already.
Probably.
2.5.
I'm sure he is.
So Project Veritas yesterday drops a bombshell of some voter fraud in San Antonio where they got on video a woman claiming that she goes around getting people to change their votes.
I was trying to find a way. You remember the Duke of Duval. I've decided to dub this lady the biatch of Bear.
There you go.
She's the biatch of Bear. Folks, there's a video. This lady is employed by a campaign. She does
Democrat campaign. Not going to
vote harvesting is against the law unless you're assisting a family member with their vote. There may be several other criteria, but I can't go legally to Ash's house and tell Ash how to vote and say, oh, you need to sign here. Oh, yeah, by the way, B.J. Nelson will be Bill Posey's first guest. There you go. Cool. So this lady would go out and she's telling the guy is in the Project Veritas guy is in the car with her with his iPhone going, video, audio, the whole deal, crystal clear. There's no mistaking what she's saying. And she tells him, well, this is what we do. We go out and she said, follow me. So he's got his phone in a way, I don't know how he did it, but it's obvious that it's not so perfect that it's not in his hand. And she goes up and tells us.
Oh, don't mind that. That's just for my GPS on the car.
Right? She goes, hey, let me see your ballot. And the older lady gives her the ballot. And she says, okay, ma'am, you see right here, didn't you tell me that you were a Democrat? Yes, see, Democrat. Didn't you want to vote just all Democrat? Yes. She said, well, you voted for John Cornyn. She goes, yes, John Cornyn. She goes, no. You need to vote for the other guy.
MJ Hager,
and
other lady.
And scratch out Cornyn and put your initials and then circle this and put your vote there. And the lady did it. And then the woman gave her an envelope and said, look, that's for you. And it had a scarf in it. All of this, you can't give anybody a gift for their vote.
I believe she talked about buying beer for people.
That's okay.
For voting. This is in Bear County. And, we've been told that the voter fraud is not widespread. The mail fraud is not widespread. But there's enough of these anecdotal stories popping up from around the country that is getting hard to ignore, that it might not be widespread. I don't know. Yes or no?
I agree 100%. I want you to scan this just for a second. I got that from Bill Winlet.
Right.
By the way, I feel good about telling our listeners that our new digs are through a cooperative effort of Bill Winlet. That's where we're going to move, and Bill does a great job. Great. If you need real estate space, if you need space from an office to office space to an entire floor of a building, or maybe even a building itself, reach out to Bill Winlet. Great guy. And if you need help getting a hold of Bill, just reach out to me and I'll help you. Super, super friend and a really, really professional real estate guru. Do you want to?
I struggle with those things because, I don't have enough time to fact check them and something like this.
Which is more than most media sources do. Can't we just run with it? If we don't like it, we ignore it.
So at the very worst, or the very least right now, you have Joe Biden, through his son Hunter, selling access to the vice president, access to the next White House, and probably some money laundering in there somewhere, right?
There's no doubt
they
would have crimes for Trump. Just even if you're a Democrat, put the shoe on the other foot. Would ABC and would Wolf Blitzer be going nuts over Donald Trump's kid was on a board in Ukraine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He's so all about himself, enriching his own family, when it's actually Joe Biden who's doing that. The Biden crime family. Who just
followed the game plan that the Clintons were doing till they lost in 2016, and then they had to fold up the foundation because they could no longer peddle meetings with the next president in exchange for your contribution
to
the Clinton Foundation.
Nobody ever talked about that. Why doesn't CBS, where are Woodward and Bernstein? Why doesn't somebody turn on the Clintons?
Where'd all the money go?
And say, where did all that? It was over $1 billion. Where did the money go?
Even when the media was somewhat reputable and questioned all the dealings that went on in Haiti and the rebuilding of Haiti and the Clintons and some corrupt people in there, it never went anywhere. Well, there might have been corruption. Some money went missing. They didn't build the house they were supposed to. That was the end of it. Boom, done.
Do you remember when there was a hurricane or a storm, they called it a monsoon, I don't know, went through Puerto Rico, and Trump went down there and kind of chastised the governor and said, you guys are crooked. You got a warehouse full of stuff down here from the Obama administration you never did anything with. Everybody said, oh, he's so inhumane. He's so racist.
He's a hater. He can't stand Puerto Ricans.
He was 100% spot on correct. Corruption, backhanded deals, the rich get richer, the leadership exploiting the people. That's exactly what happened. Joe Biden's made a career out of it, 47 years. Somebody pointed out that one year he had made like 200 and something thousand as a family. Like the next year, it was like 16 million, but nobody knows where it came from, for real. Like, come on, people.
Nobody was paying $500,000 a shot for Joe Biden to go speak somewhere.
And here's what gets me.
As the ex-VP.
If you think that I'm somehow piling on Joe Biden, please make a note. We're an equal opportunity offender. We pile on Donald Trump when he's in the wrong as well. There's no getting around the observable fact that we point out the oddities. We so many times, and it's usually Ash, I have to give him credit, so many times, it's like, nah, it just doesn't pass the smell test. And about 3 weeks later, one time, you may remember the specifics. There was one situation.
Don't be so sure.
And Ash said, let's sit on that one. Let's don't report on that one yet because I have a feeling there's going to be more come out about it. And sure enough, it did. You'll remember that Ash and I hesitated. We condemned the actions of Derek Chauvin, condemned those specifically, but we were very, very slow to canonize George Floyd. Very slow until the facts came out that, oh, well, look what all we know about George Floyd now. All of these end up being like perfect storm situations. This stuff that's going on in Philadelphia right now, folks, this is just un-American. Our friend Andy Rokovich is going up this next week. That makes me a little bit anxious. These people are all up in arms. They're shooting people. Some officers shot a guy who, by the way, had it coming. I saw a deal the other day.
Had a knife.
If you're a black man with mental health issues, you've got no chance against the cops. Guess what, folks? Medicate your crazy and keep it off.
Well, they say supposedly he was. That's what they're saying. But what are you supposed to do? Here's a guy.
You shoot him in the knee, don't you?
Well, that was what they said. Should have tased him. Should have shot him in the leg.
The guy is running at police with a gun, with a knife. But make a note: the officers that shot him were also black. This wasn't like Whitey just driving by shooting a black guy. Well, but then everybody in Philly still riots and burns stuff.
Well, but that narrative's changed just by what you pointed out. But you no longer have a shot against the police if you're a black man. You don't have a chance.
Oh, now
now it's just the police.
Guess what? Yeah. Oh, come on, people.
But I read a story on this in the Philadelphia Inquirer. So I'm thinking pretty legit.
Not the National, right? No, just the Philadelphia.
Yeah. Okay. So Inquirer, not Enquirer.
Okay. That means they ask questions.
Yeah. So I would assume legit, right? And I'm careful to how they, his mom said she was out there trying to stop him. According to the article, he brushed his mom aside. I'm thinking he probably shoved mom aside. There's no brushing.
Right. You can't brush your mom.
Mom apparently didn't have the control over her crazy son that she thought she did because he brushed mom aside to continue on after police. And police were backing up.
Yes, they were. I saw the video.
They were trying to get out of there or at least separate themselves, put as much room between them, and maybe the situation would disarm.
So what if they just left? What if they just got back in the car and left? Now you're leaving an armed guy who's willing to shove his mother to the ground. You can't do that. You've got to protect and serve. You've got to protect the public. Now, we can analyze.
Well, the police shouldn't use guns. Well, then why does a crazy man have access to a knife?
Right.
Lock your damn knives up if that's the problem.
100%. And now the result is we're going to turn around and riot. We're going to loot. We're going to burn Philly. And then we're going to blame all law enforcement. Now, all law enforcement is bad.
That's how the narrative changes. That's how the narrative, they always start it one way, and then they slowly work it into their vernacular, and it becomes the main talking point of the left.
Here's what's going to end up happening. Let's just let this regression
We see it with the court packing. It's how they did this. They now accuse Donald Trump of packing a court. They use it so it becomes common term, so that if Joe Biden gets elected, he can add 5 Supreme Court justices to actually pack the court. Donald Trump didn't pack the court.
No. So here's the deal. And when Barack Obama couldn't be bored. He was too busy smoking cigarettes. He couldn't be bothered to fill all the federal judgeship positions. So Trump got in there and said, well, I'll fill them.
Yeah.
Let's get this. Let's get this.
300 of them?
Yeah. And that was 120. But at any rate, it was a large number that he filled.
I might exaggerate.
And
sometimes.
again, all lawyers are liberal. All of them. All of them. Even Steve Kidder. Even Steve Kidder is liberal compared to a Main Street right-wing person. So the idea, at worst, at best, you get like a moderate. So the fact that you put, there's nobody that says, hey, I'm a Republican, I want to be a judge. That didn't happen.
220 judges appointed by Trump. Thank you. We were close.
We have the best listeners, Ash.
Yeah, they fact check us.
Help me with this, yeah. Thank you. Thank you much, HR.
So you were closer. I was over. I would have lost the Price is Right showcase.
Let's take a 10-second break and tell you about VCS Company Rocket Oilfield Services and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication empire. In this day and age, if you don't have a security system, you're insecure. You've got problems because I tell you what, I rest much better at night knowing that if my phone goes off, I can pick it up, and if somebody's on my driveway, I can see them in color in 1080p, just in time to get my AR-15 and go out and smoke them, okay? That's the way that works. When you get rid of all the police, there's going to be a lot more paperwork because people in Texas are going to go, I feared for my life, and I smoked that dude. So get ready for that. Get ready for that level of anarchy, if that's what you want to call it. You better hope that thin blue line stays between you and me. The VCS companies can help you with surveillance, security, all the way down to oilfield pad sites, a new gate,
a new phone,
the AT&T, the iPhone 12 from the only local and authorized AT&T retailer.
And discounts for all first responders.
Yes, please go in there and tell them what you do. Tell them what you do for a living. You might be surprised you might get a discount. They also have all the accessories you need. I learned the hard way. I bought a whole bunch of $14.99 accessories before I went in and paid $30, and I've had one now for about 3 years.
There you go.
Why do it? Chesnick Furniture Company, 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Bobby Leon and his family have been providing Victorians with beautiful home furnishing options for 100 years. 100 years.
American-made furniture.
There's no way they're doing it wrong and in business 100 years. Go down there and see Bobby and his family. Right now, 50% off all furniture as they celebrate 100 years for the entire year of 2020. It's going to come to an end and prices are going to go up. Get back down there and let Bobby show you why you just do better at Chesnick. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. That took 1 minute and 45 seconds. I listen to other shows, folks, and it is unbelievable the extent to which they bombard you with getthetea.com. Get the tea that makes you go. I'm like, really? I mean, if I need to poop, I don't need to hear about it on the radio. Get the tea. It's just
we don't want to hear
it just beats you to death. That means this wonderful product won't get you high. Absolutely no THC in this CBD oil. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Trey Malone says George Parr was my mom's.
Yeah, somebody mentioned something about George Parr and some vote scandal.
Yeah. Well, that's the Duke of Duval. That's the guy that in the big picture, in the stereotype, that basically got LBJ elected. Who was it that pointed out? Was it you that pointed out that there's more votes being cast than there are residents in some counties?
Yeah, just
not registered voters, residents.
Like 300 and some odd counties. They did a data analysis.
Not in Texas.
No, in 28 different states.
Because there's only 254 counties in Texas.
Yeah. So you either knew these counties had issues, or if this is a random sampling, this is even scarier. 350 counties in 28 states. They took a look at the voter rolls. In these 353 counties, 1.8 million more registered voters than there actually are voter eligible residents.
Think about that, folks. That is called corruption, widespread fraud.
1.8 million people that could potentially cast a ballot than there are actual people who meet the criteria to vote in those counties.
It's crazy.
So they've included people who are not 18. They've included people who are not citizens. They've included people who are felons and no longer have the right to vote. They've included people who are probably dead.
Right? Memorial Gardens brings in the,
I mean, it's a San Antonio-sized city of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Trey Malina calls it Box 13. I think it's a fascinating story. Fascinating.
Burn the building when the Texas Rangers started to investigate. They show up. Wasn't that the one?
Yeah.
County tax or the county office was burned down. Yeah.
LBJ would have done anything for power and then did even more with it.
And nobody questions anything with him. Because he's from Texas, he's like a god, and I'm not buying it.
No.
But here's the thing. Has there ever been and Lady Bird is kind of given a free pass. But she had to know something was up. Here's a guy who was a school teacher.
Right. Very, very effective leader. He was
very, very effective leader.
No, he was Sam Rayburn. Sam Rayburn kind of took him under his arm and under his wing, if you will. And LBJ was a ruthless wielder of power. LBJ is the guy that would know something about you and say, hey, either you help me with this or I'm going to give this file to J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar will be calling you. And, okay. So he was the guy, he was the power broker in the Senate long before.
Here's a movement that needs to happen in this country. If we're so worried about having names on buildings of people who were corrupt, oppressed, racist, why the hell do we still have the Hoover building that the FBI goes to every day in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, it's craziness.
It is. It absolutely is. That name should not be on the building at all.
Now, see, maybe we should reach out to those folks because when you say, here's a movement that needs, if you need a movement, call getthet.com. How about that? We could work them into our program. We're looking for a couple more sponsors, folks. Not that we want to bore you with commercials.
We got big
big plans, and the more that we have, but we actually try to give back as much as we can. I still think we need to facilitate. I still owe Callie Frommie a Wade and Carter tumbler, and I owe one to Torrin Bales. And I'm not sure if we have facilitated or if Torrin has hooked up with Warriors Weekend yet, but we'll make it all work.
I think we managed to.
As long as y'all know,
make that together.
As long as y'all know that we know.
Greg Garcia, good morning to you. Keith Myers checking in. I'm curious how your brother's campaign is going up in Hallettsville. Drove through there on the weekend. I saw a whole bunch. If signage is any indication driving through Hallettsville, and I hate to use it as a barometer, but Mark Myers looks like he's in pretty good shape.
Sure. Mike Myers.
Mark Myers.
I thought, it was his brother that was in all the movies. Yeah. Adam Daughtry says, I thought Hoover was a cross-dresser. Hoover had some issues. Yeah. No getting around.
No, none at all. So
did you hear the latest on this? Just a little trivia for those of you that know me. There's a Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2, Mr. Posey, is resigning or retiring at the end of the year.
Stuart Posey, is that the name?
I do not know that. Somebody will know, one of our listeners will know. He's actually my JP. I don't need him. I haven't died. But the JP is, my problems are much bigger than the Justice of the Peace.
I always thought that was weird.
Yeah.
He shows up to.
I'm not a small claims guy. My problems are big. So
you're not truant.
Right. So this guy is going to retire, and they've received, the county commissioners have received eight applicants, and hats off to Victoria. Hats off to Victoria for folks stepping in to serve, as Judge Stuart Posey is the gentleman that is resigning. That's Posey, not
Pozzi.
Right. And
that list, Judge Posey could just become Judge Posey again.
Right. Then that list includes our our friend Roy Keister of late from the sheriff's office. Yep. It includes a gentleman who happens to be an attorney, which is not required, but certainly an asset.
You think
it is a gentleman named Randy Durham or Dunham. Durham, I think. At any rate, maybe Dunham. Anyway, Randy, somebody there will know him.
Judge Adam Daughtry.
And then also, I thought it was interesting that Kim Pickens,
put her name into the
active locally. We see things quite differently, but she put her name in. But the one that really gave me a chuckle, and I'm sorry, it gave me a chuckle because when you think of justice of the peace, you think of somebody resolving things. You think about somebody trying to be fair and unbiased and just try to listen and then resolve the issue. I found it amazing that one Chris Cobbler put his name in the list. I could not help but laugh at the concept of Commissioner's Court approving Chris Cobbler to be anything associated with the county after the way he's treated the county.
Adam Daughtry says, let's pack the court.
Let's put 5 people in there. Well. Let's just put all 8 of them on there. It is Dunham, Randy Dunham. Okay. I apologize, sir. I wanted to mention your name as somebody being certainly qualified for the role. I just did not. I don't know you. So thank you.
Kelly Bromley says she's been told unverified that some homeowners were being paid to allow those giant Biden Hager signs in their front yards. Does anyone know anything about that? I don't. That's the first I've heard of it.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Biden, Harris, Hager. I mean, if it's you, I think that's the way it should go.
Right.
They're advertising. They spend money advertising on various media. If I have a business with a prominent location or a home with good visibility, why shouldn't I be able to monetize that a little bit?
That's a Ron Raina.
That's capitalism.
That's a Ron Raina deal where he goes out and he's got all the signs from, I guess, many campaigns of his own, and they go out and put those up. It's very impressive. Just
Jeff Fonseca says, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's exactly.
Speaking of which,
how's the golf game?
That foot wedge is amazing, isn't it?
Don't count that.
Final break, and then we'll get into the World Series. A lot of stuff with the World Series.
A lot of stuff.
Uncle Mutt's Barbecue, folks. Drive-thru's open. The restaurant's open.
Around 11.
Around 11. They'll be open till 8 tonight.
Don't push it.
Brisket, ribs, chicken, turkey, sausage. All your favorite sides.
What's your favorite? Still a ribs guy?
The ribs, but I the brisket because they know me so well.
Yeah, they start cutting the fat.
They throw the fat in there and give me a little extra fat.
Beautiful. Yeah. Uncle Mutt's, folks, is just a great place. If you need catering, Uncle Mutt's is your go-to on that. It's where Cheryl goes. You need a party. You need to plan a party, a wedding, a reception, a reunion. Reunion would be a great venue for Cheryl because if you'll dial 920-6803, she's got ideas to help you create whatever venue you choose. Yeah. She can make it, if you graduated in the 80s and you want to do an 80s theme, she can
Madonna with the best of them.
Absolutely. Like a virgin. 920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl at Gray Barn Design. Went Electrical, Went Systems.
The Gray Barn. We've been saying it wrong.
The Gray Barn. Don't push it, Cheryl. I'll get it right on the next invoice. The Went Services, Went Electrical. You need solar panels? You do. Why not? Because now you can store that energy and use it later on in the day. Used to be if the lights were on, it was working. Now you've got a battery backup. Generac makes it, American made in Wisconsin. Ilhan Omar collects taxes on that.
Here's why we need to be thankful with this cold front, because you don't need to have your backup generator for this latest hurricane that's in the Gulf, because this cold front is steering it to the east of us.
There you go. Is it really going east, back to New Orleans or somewhere?
Somewhere over that way, yeah.
Bless their hearts. Yeah, some places, no wonder the French sold that to us so cheap.
They knew something.
Wow. Also, USA Concrete caller, hang on 1 second. We'll get to you in just a moment. Just hang on for us. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. Our friend Charlie Garcia will come out. They'll look at your garage. They'll look at your patio, your sidewalk, pool, deck area, a room that you want to transform. They'll fill the cracks. They'll level it up. And then they'll put a coating on there that's stronger than epoxy. won't chip, won't peel, won't stick to your tires. That used to be the big deal.
Yeah, your tires, you'd pull out of the garage and you'd have to redo your floor.
Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. That's over. So 578 Home, Charlie Garcia, USA Concrete Coatings. They just do it. They just do it right the first time. So we have a caller.
Yes, we do.
Let's pull that up.
Good morning, Wade and Carter. Hey, John Paul.
JP Hull,
how are you?
This was somebody's prom date just 2 years ago. Is it creepy? I agree. We call it Joe. It's Joe Biden. How are you, sir? What's going on? No,
we're just getting into that.
You're the tiebreaker in this conversation. Dodgers win last night 3-2. Win
3-1, I think, didn't they?
Whatever. 3-1. They close out the Rays 4-2. Win the World Series. Like you said, how is that Arizona guy, Rice-A-Roni kid? Why do they keep pitching to that guy?
They didn't. They kind of neutralized him yesterday. But here was the thing that. Well, yeah, in the first inning, I turned it on late and missed that. But after that, they kind of got smart. Well, but did you know? Actually, they threw him an 87-mile-an-hour meatball that he slammed his bat on the plate after because he realized he missed an opportunity to just crush it. Yeah.
So was Clayton Kershaw named MVP? Who was? What do you think about Major League Baseball's stance that Josh Turner, power hitter for the Dodgers, apparently tested positive for COVID on Monday, and then they did a retest. I understand how this works. They let him go on about his business. He's in the game.
They pulled him after the seventh inning.
Seventh inning, they take him out because they did a retest of the original sample, and he tested positive again. So we're not even going to err on the side of caution.
We're going to err on the side of winning.
Right. And then
Corey Seager MVP.
Oh, Corey Seager. Okay. Then after the game, he's out there celebrating with his teammates with a mask on next to his 60-year-old manager.
You know what? I don't know.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. How? Yeah.
Right. Game 7.
Yet you had Monday off and the test was positive Monday, and you still played him knowing that it was positive on Tuesday. Is this not cheating taken to a completely different degree? When Major League Baseball has COVID testing protocols in place to protect the safety, and you're the Dodgers and you disregard them and throw the guy out there anyway, willy-nilly, who cares about everybody else's life and safety?
I agree.
That's one take.
Yes.
They must have.
Seventh inning said take him out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a
He
good
looks.
player.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a hippie.
Yeah. He kind of looks like.
Looks like Tom Hanks in Lost or whatever that movie
No, those HR Puff and stuff. He looks like he could be a character from that show.
He can do a little, but he can't do enough. So JP, what do you see?
But seriously, is that not cheating taken to a different level? Astros are banging on drums. Red Sox are doing what they're doing with Apple Watches. You have a guy that's not supposed to be in the game and probably in the vicinity of anybody, and he's in the game for 7 innings.
I agree. JP, before you go, tell people that I'm telling them the truth. I could come to your office right now. Of course, you wouldn't be there, but if you were at your office right now, you could bring up on the screen one of your multinational clients, and we could view together. There's right there India, China, Russia, China, banging on their webpage. That's a true story, isn't it? China. But they are, right? In real time. Like, it's not a video that you keep. Somebody could come by your office and you can show them how, hey, this is what's going on with one of my clients right now in real time. And it's super duper. Just Razor IT Solutions, super. It's going to be a very, very, very long time. Creepy Joe, lose your website, not me. Making your values go up, up, up. It's going to be terrific. Bye, brother.
Bye. That's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Yeah.
But here's the other side of this, and I'm not, Justin Turner's probably asymptomatic, as Kevin Leininger pointed out.
Sure.
But if the rules are the rules, you just broke them.
Sure.
To give your team a better chance to win. Okay, there,
and arguably endangered your player and other players.
But
it's
on the flip side, it kind of illustrates how hostage this virus and pandemic is holding us.
Yeah, I'm over it, by the way.
Here's a guy who didn't miss the biggest day of his life, presumably. I don't know if he's had bigger ones. Maybe he has. But certainly in his baseball career, because the Dodgers haven't won a World Series since '88.
Correct.
Until last night.
Hershiser, that it? 88?
Yeah, Kirk Gibson, game one of that series, changed the series. Yeah, a lot of people misremember that, thinking that was a series clinching.
Yeah, Joe Carter had the last walk-off home run, I think.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yep. 93.
Go Jays!
93.
Yep.
But I think, to me, that was more symbolic and emblematic of where we are. Here he is, celebrating with his team without a mask, taking pictures without his team without a mask. Some things are bigger than
drinking
the
champagne
COVID.
With his mates. Yeah, some things are bigger than COVID. Sometimes you just got to live your life.
Yeah. So,
I agree with something like that. Don't test. You become property of the health department. Yep. If you feel bad, stay home. We've said this here for months. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it. All we're doing is trying to slow the curve. The reality is
flatten the curve, which we did.
By the way, did you know, somebody go research how many people have died of this year's flu strain? None. Everybody's dying.
No, it's not quite flu season yet.
Right.
Actually, it is.
Go look it up. Nobody's dying of the flu anywhere. It's all COVID.
They're liking my pumpkin. Me and Graydon's pumpkin.
Your pumpkin's a little scary. A little creepy.
Is it? But isn't that the point? Aren't they supposed to be?
I guess. Can we put a candle in it tomorrow?
No, we can't do that. It's against fire code.
Is it?
Yeah. Get a battery up.
We're leaving here anyway. Who cares? We're out of here. Somebody needs to tell Bill Posey.
We'll burn it down like LBJ and the ballot boxes.
Folks, you'll want to tune in next week. I guess is Monday, Thursday, Tuesday? I don't know. Bill Posey.
Tuesday's election day.
Wake up, Victoria. It's going to be coming on at 6:30 in the morning. The show to the pre-show of the show. The show in Victoria.
The only show.
Yeah.
Full house this morning.
Yep. Tremolina likes that best quote. I'm over it. So get over it. Remember that ill-fated Eagles hit?
No.
It wasn't a big one.
Maybe I blocked it.
It was off the Hell Freezes Over album. It was really no big deal.
But because they named that because that's what they said. They'll get back together when Hell Freezes Over.
Yeah.
But
our guest tomorrow, folks.
Real quick on the World Series. I thought it was a very good World Series. Aside from game one, when the Dodgers absolutely blew them out.
Great baseball.
All the games were nail biters. They were. I mean, you never felt either team was out of it, even when they were behind.
Yeah.
Just a great World Series. Here's how I know it's a good World Series. I'm a sports fan. One time I liked the Dodgers.
Front runner. Why not the Yankees, Frank?
I like Tommy Lasorda. I liked Steve Garvey. I liked
Maybe you should start wearing a uniform.
I like Mike Scioscia.
You could be like the AD in the uniform. You're kind of built like Tommy Lasorda now.
No, that's you.
I'm telling you to back off that pasta plate.
But nowadays, I'm not really big on either team in there, but the World Series pulled me in.
Tampa Bay won me over as far as having a great program. And
here was the other interesting storyline with this. The most money spent on a lineup in the league, in the majors, against the least amount of money
Is that
spent
right?
on a lineup.
Because baseball is the perfect game. Baseball is a game where, and translate this, folks, translate this over against the NBA. The NBA had the worst ratings ever. Baseball did really well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I think the ratings were down somewhat, but then again, it's LA.
Not like the NBA.
No, not at all. Adam Sugar asked if Brent's wearing. No, he's not wearing.
No, I'm not wearing Uggs, but I am wearing like kind of some semi-gay streetwalker boots.
So,
how about this?
Tomorrow's guest,
Emmett Alvarez. Very excited. Emmett's a friend. Emmett's a fellow Longhorn. Emmett will be wonderful because Emmett is very knowledgeable. Emmett knows what he believes, and Emmett knows why he believes it. I don't like these people that go, this is the way I feel. This is how I feel. That's not Emmett Alvarez. Emmett has logic, and I'm really looking forward, really not to any banter. I'm looking forward to giving Emmett a forum to share with you why Biden. That's tomorrow's show's theme. Why Biden? Not because he's not Trump, not here's what Trump did, but why Biden? And I can't wait to have Emmett on. He's a gentleman and a fine guy. I just wish he had better friends. So Emmett will be here tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. And we hope you guys have a safe day. Watch the roads. They're going to be wet for a while. Watch out for those kids. School's back, in and out. People are coming and going.
You're heading north. Roads might be icy.
Yep. Be safe and know that we love you. We'll see you manana. Bye-bye.